Hi, I'm Toby Hodges, and this is the brand new Bestevaer 36. And forgive me for geeking out on this one, because this is one of the boats I've been most excited about seeing in 2023. So the Bestevaer aluminium range of go anywhere yachts, built by KM Yachtbuilders in Macum in the Netherlands, and this boat was designed and built for the father of the series, Gerard Dykstra, legendary racing sailor and designer, who's had Bestevaers before that he's taken around a lot of the world already, but he wanted a smaller one for visiting more of his homelands, the wetlands of the Netherlands. So KM have built this smallest yet, the 36, and it is full of really interesting, neat ideas throughout the boat. I'm not even going to be able to show them all, I doubt, but one of the key central pillars of the boat is the sustainability aspect of it as well. So the boat obviously built out of aluminium, which is really a wonder material when you look at all yards that are trying to make stuff out of more renewable fiberglass and resins and things. Aluminium, it's been around for over 150 years, and I think KM say over 75% of it's still in existence. You can keep recycling it. Over 60% of this boat is made out of recycled aluminium. Unfortunately, we don't have much wind to sail at the moment, but it's a good chance to have a look around the deck and interior of this boat. So this bare aluminium look, absolutely typical for Bestevaers. They look like rugged yachts because they are rugged yachts. They're built to be able to go anywhere in the wild, high latitudes, northwest passages, in the ice, that sort of thing, even at this size. So it's a centerboard yacht, and this one has a kick-up rudder as well for drying out. On deck here, this is sandblasted aluminium, which helps give it a lifelong non-skid effect without having to use paint, which also could corrode as well, which, corrosion and electrolysis, big issue with using a metal boat obviously, but something that KM has long specialised in doing and avoiding. Sails from Alfstrom, they're eco material using recycled polyester. This one, we've got a reaching sail out at the moment, but has a jib hoist boom for this. Stay sail, jib option. This has a fat head, square top main on it with running back stays. But I want to show you a bit more around the cockpit in the interior as well. Flexible panels on this, contributing, I think, around 500 watts, but I'll check. Because this has a hybrid system on it, so it's got an ocean volt electric drive and a diesel generator on there as well. So obviously a lovely deep protected cockpit is key to a Bestevaer as well, but this has some really cool features on it, and Jelle, the project manager here, is going to help me show you through a few of them, starting with this massive starboard locker. So within here, and this is a nice feature as well, you can probably see that has, same as this side, you can put a winch handle in here, and that basically dogs this down nice and watertight, and it's a watertight bulkhead there that separates this area from the accommodation. And inside here, as well as having loads of stowage space for hanging your spare warps, lines and that sort of thing, this is your main access to Fisher Panda 6000 genset. And within here, the blue bit is your ocean volt pod, the drive, nice quiet electric drive there. And that, if you can just make out on the other side, is the other side, that's the watertight bulkhead surrounding the quarter berth of the accommodation. Aft port here, hatch lifts up for access to the autopilot. You can see a bit more of the framework in here as well. And this is what I really like. A running board here, which is also used as the gangplank, but a useful helm seat which slides back and forth there. Get more people to sit around in this cockpit area. So then to starboard here is the swim platform essentially, so these steps lower down, and it also gives access to the life raft. So when you do need to get the life raft out, you drop the steps down. Nice easy access for boarding from the water as well. So this has a transom hung rudder, which is a really neat feature. It's essentially like a dinghy really, and when you consider it's a centerboard yacht and can dry out, having a kick-up rudder blade is a pretty useful feature to have. So under here is the cam cleat here, and this is your fuse essentially. So if you did hit something, that would allow the rudder to kick up. And then when you do want to pull the rudder up manually, as yellow's showing now, you put the line around the winch, and we can do this while we're sailing along. And that is pulling up the plywood epoxy blade. It's just got on the cam cleat there. So it's, you lift the tiller like you would on a dinghy, yeah, and that's attached to the actual rudder blade itself, and that pulls it up. So that's for drying out mode as well, but also interesting, I was just asking about the emergency steering. So that is the actual aluminium part of the rudder is 50 centimeters below the surface. So if you were to lose the blade somehow, you'd still have steerage off that in terms of emergency steering, and obviously fitting an extra blade would be pretty easy. And then moving inside, obviously you don't have the length of the boat required to have a proper pilot house in here, but you do have a pretty lovely spot to just sit and keep a watch in complete protection here. So the KM have just built a 41 for people that did want to have an actual pilot house, but you need that extra length. However, have a look down here. You come down 3 steps and you're into what I would say is a proper traditional interior. It's lovely. So these seats lift up to give access to the berth.
Yeah, in the front hatch.
You also have a small table.
You can just open it with your nails.
And you have a lovely quarter berth or pilot berth under here. On the starboard side, below the pilot house seat, you have a proper locker, not a wet hanging locker, because you've got the electronics in there as well, but bilge deep, really good amount of space in there. So it really is a very, very attractive, appealing, traditional style interior. And that the theme of green boat building, I guess, runs right through this as well. So all of the materials that go into this boat, they've really thought about the lifetime and the recyclability element of them. So that's, you know, we're looking at here a dark stained oak interior, and even places like all around the hull surrounds this is a linoleum, which is a recycled material as well. And obviously the aluminium itself, which forms the heart of the boat. But you can see, you know, it's very much designed for a certain type of sailing. It's not trying to pack in any accommodation. You literally have a double berth and a quarter berth. Now, of course, you could sleep in the saloon as well if you wanted to, but yeah, you can imagine being in a pretty remote place as a couple using this boat and having a very, very comfortable big saloon area which you would be living in. This space here is going to be a diesel powered heating system, you know, with a flue that will go up through there, and that will use HVO, so green sourced diesel essentially. And then I guess this is probably your compromise by modern standards, is to have a pretty compact heads and wet area. The galley also quite small, but nice having that central sink to stand and work at. Small little workstation area, but good deep stowage here. In the drawers and below for your pots and pans. You've got an extra fridge below this quarter berth as well. And if I didn't mention before, that there's access from the cockpit locker for this berth as well. So the actual hull, if I lift a board up here, you'll see a bit of the plating beneath, but yeah, aluminium hull is built from over 60% recycled aluminium. What they do is they then spray cork in as insulation, and then above the waterline they use a non-porous mineral wool for insulation. So it should be a very well insulated boat. Weighs just under 9 tons, 8.8 tons, and this big table here, if you hadn't already guessed it, is housing the centre plate below. So what that means is that board will raise up on a hydraulic cylinder and reduce draft from 2.4 metres, sort of with it down in sailing mode, up to about, well, inside the hull, so you can dry out. The boat will dry out on its belly essentially, without, and there is a skeg here for protecting the prop, and it can sit on that and the rudder as well. It's designed to. So below this mast base here, within this column, sits that hydraulic cylinder, and that is pulling, using dyneema and wire, that is pulling that centre plate up within this table. It's a heavy bit of furniture. It's serious. So you can see there it's bare aluminium. But you can also notice not only how many stiffening grid, how much there is in terms of stiffness in the grid, but good bilge stowage space as well. And that runs through the saloon area. And then below the tabletop, you've got a bit of stowage there for charts or something. That then lifts out and you can access the top of the centre plate. And you can actually, where that red cap is, that is for screwing in a steel rod, so you can keep that centre plate down if you are ocean sailing, if you want to. Neat feature on deck is having these permanently rigged preventer lines here. It also means that you can help, without a traveller, help bring that boom inboard as well. Running back stays for the square head and belt and braces, fixtures and fittings on deck. Look at these bollards, superb. I'm sorry, I owe you an apology, and KM and Gerard Dykstra, because I haven't given this boat the attention, time, space it deserves. We haven't had the conditions really to sail it like we'd really want to, but I hope that means that in the future, hopefully we get to sail it in some really nice conditions, and hopefully maybe with Gerard Dykstra as well, and get his thoughts on it, because that would be for me the most fascinating part about where this all came from. So yeah, sorry if it was a quick tour and didn't go into as much detail as I really wanted to, but I hope you appreciate the design and thought that goes into this as much as I do. I just think it's such a cool boat. However, do have to bear in mind this is pretty much a custom yacht. Yeah, this 36 will be more on a sort of production size and scale, because the engineering is in place for it. But in terms of pricing, this boat starts at 550,000 ex VAT. So what we're looking at here is essentially about an 800,000 euro boat. It's a lot of money, but bear in mind the brains and skill that is going into that. They're very used to building much larger aluminium vessels, and designed to go anywhere in high latitudes and that sort of thing as well. Bye.